So everyone's buying these type of moss poles thinking they're helping their plants, but I'm sorry, they are just absolute garbage. I cannot stand them. Your plant literally cannot grip this thing. It's just expensive fluff that falls apart, in my opinion. Honestly, choosing plant supports is like dating. Most are completely wrong for you. You waste your time and money on disasters, but when you find the right match, everything just clicks. We've all been obsessing over those massive monstera leaves on YouTube, right? Well, I went down a rabbit hole of figuring out what actually creates those big, massive leaves, and it's not really fancy fertilizer or expensive lights, although lighting absolutely does help. But you'd be surprised at how much the right support really matters. Now, if we haven't met before, hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to Leafy Lovin. But if we have met before, you would know that my house is full of functional chaos with climbing plants taking over my entire house. So today I'm going to be rating all different types of stakes, poles and trellises on what really matters. Does your plant grip onto the thing? Does it fall apart in 6 months? Does it make your living room look like some kind of hardware store exploded? Because honestly, some of the ones I'm going to show you today are really bad, but also others are so beautiful that they're basically plant furniture. And I'm going to be rating them using that beautiful tier system from S tier marriage material all the way down to D tier garbage that's just going to break your heart and your budget. So let me save you from some really bad first dates. So let's start with looking at different stake options, the single stake. And let's start with the thing I mentioned before, this one in the thumbnail, the Koya, I think that's how you say it, Koya poles. I cannot stand them, I'm sorry. Sorry if you're a fan. I know they're fairly cheap and they look like they should be doing something good for your plants with this fuzzy type of Koya wrapped around that single pole. I also know a big selling point is that they stack one on top of each other. Sometimes you can pop them inside and they can stack on top of each other. But if you want to help your plant climb, you're looking for something that the plant aerial roots are going to grab onto. And that's where this product falls apart in my mind. Looks like it should do fine, but it doesn't work. It's trying to sell you a point that doesn't actually work, which I cannot stand. And after time, especially if I'm in a sunny spot, or this is in a sunny spot, it gets roughed. I mean, look at this, it's falling apart. I feel like it's just a selling point lie. Don't do it. There's so much better out there for your plants. Let it be. Waste of money, definitely garbage. D tier goes down the end. You can also get bendable Koya poles, which I would put just a smidgen above the basic Koya pole because they can actually bend and shape and you can make them look a little bit cute and a little bit aesthetic for your plant's needs. And if it's something like a pothos climber, something that's easy to climb, then the shape of the moss pole itself will actually be a bit more useful to help that plant climb. But again, it's just the same issues as the Koya poles. The plant does not attach, even though it looks like it should. And other than just basic support to help your plant not fall down, it doesn't really do much to help your plant grow. Okay, next one, we're on the stakes. So we'll keep going, the nice easy one, the one that you'd probably be used to. I have used this one before, a basic wooden stake. Pros, it's cheap, of course it is. And it's also natural, so it has a little bit of texture to it, which a plant aerial root really likes. You can get different thicknesses for your different plant needs. I have, a thinner one and a thicker one. It's something that you see on a lot of different gardening shows that you use for like garden beds, big, thick, chunky wooden stakes. So the naturalness I really like, but 9 times out of 10, you need a tie to help that plant grab onto the stake. It helps if it's natural wood, but the better wood can get rather expensive, so it's a basic tier product. It's simple, it does the job if needed, but it doesn't really do much again. Next one is, I did have one, yes I do. It's all on the floor, by the way. So the next one is the bamboo stake, probably the most common thing you will find everywhere. Very, very cheap, very natural, but it is quite smooth. And again, it's the same as the wooden stakes. Your plant just needs help attaching with ties. So you need that extra support. It's not really doing much for your plant. You have to manually attach the plant to the stake. Another thing you can do, I'm sure many of you have done this, is use natural branches or sticks. These can actually work beautifully well and they're free, which is honestly amazing. But let's be honest, you do need to hunt for a good one with good size, decent texture, that won't rot quickly in your soil and is the right size. And if you've got puppies or dogs like me, as soon as you put a stick somewhere, it disappears. So I definitely don't use them because I can't get past the front door with them. It's hit or miss depending on what you can forage, which is probably very dependent on where you live too. So for me, natural stakes is beautiful. It's somewhere in the middle in a C tier. Next, again, stakes. Simple plastic stake. Same as the wooden one, but the smooth texture just doesn't do anything for the plant. It is super strong. It's a lot stronger than some of the wood ones in some cases, especially if you've had the wood ones for a long time. They can rot with natural weather. That's what natural things do. The only thing again though is it's just something you have to use a tie with. All stakes are not naturally designed to hold your plant on their own. It needs some extra help. And then finally, you can also use wooden planks. So not necessarily just a stake, but a nice flat wooden plank. Again, it just all depends on the type of wood you get, but to help your plant climb, you do need a textured plank. You can also adopt a wooden plank a little bit. Now, I have done this before. Here's one example here. It is old, apologies. Again, I've used this before. You basically just get a nice wooden plank. You get some damp moss and you staple the buggery out of it onto the plank. Then you use fishing wire all around it to help stabilize the moss. And now this has been there for a while. It's basically stuck to the plank. So this type of plank has actually worked well for me with my syngonium plants. They're easy growers and they actually do like to climb as well. And they don't need too much care. So as long as you've got that moss on, it's got quite a chunky thickness on it, it does have something to grab onto. A hack to help your plank last that little bit longer as well is spray paint the base, like I did with this one, with waterproofing before putting it into the soil. Obviously let it dry. But the part that's going to go into the soil, waterproof it first. So I obviously didn't waterproof it high enough. I think I got it to there and it has seeped in through. So next time I might even try going up to there, but it does just help it last longer. But again, it's just rotting down over time, which you do expect. So this one lasted me a good 3 years and now I've taken it out and obviously I'm not going to use it anymore. I might cut it and try again. Sorry, put that down. So a plank and a wooden plank with or without moss pole is both going to me in the same tier. One's a little bit better than the other, depending what you need it for, but all stakes, in my opinion, are very basic and they might look good in an Instagram video, but they don't really do much for your plant long term. It's a quick fix, it's a temporary solution. Okay, let's move on next to trellises. Now, you usually find plastic trellises are the cheapest. I've actually got one here. It's a very, very small one, obviously, but it is 3D printed. Now, when it comes to a trellis, it's slightly better than a stake because you have more plants to grip the plant onto. It is still normally very, very cheap. You can get them in all different shapes and sizes, obviously. And considering other options, it is very little faff. You just stick it in the pot, stick it in the dirt. As I said, they do come in shapes and sizes. So depending on what you need, you can buy big pieces, little pieces. This arch is quite cute. And there's some really beautiful, nice ones as well. The problem I have with these, I'm going to call these the 2D trellises, is because they are significantly flat. So again, when your plant grows bigger, it isn't the stablest, right? Stablest? Is that a word? It isn't the most stable. It can move, and the weight at the top of the plant once your plant gets big is making this support less effective. So stability for a 2D trellis, especially as your plant gets bigger, is questionable. And I would say the same for a small trellis, 2D trellis, or a bigger 2D trellis. They are just not that stable. Now my Hoyas love trellises, so it does depend on the type of plant in my mind. But there is one thing better you can do than just like the 2D, is you can get tri-stakes or 3D type trellises. So I much prefer these now. I learned my lessons on the 2D ones. They didn't hold up very well. So I use these more 3D trellises for my Hoyas actually. They seem to love it. It gives them a lot of air when these Hoyas are definitely looking for things. They love to search. They're almost like the magicians of the plant world for me. I won't look at it for a while and then all of a sudden 3 weeks later my Hoya is growing a vine out the front door, trying to escape into another house or another room. They are literally escape artists and they try and grow everywhere. I'm also growing tomato plants again this spring. I've just literally planted them. And again, it's a tri-stake because it's in a triangular area and it's just more stable. And I just use them for my tomato plants because I want something surrounding my tomato plants for this purpose. but I do need to use a tie of some sort to help either my Hoya or my tomato plants or something grab on or just be a little bit stable with these trellises. And when it comes to my tomato stakes, the stakes that I'm using, these tri-stakes, I probably wouldn't bring them indoors as they're ugly. They do the job, but they're ugly. So they're a C tier, You can get some lovely ones. Maybe the B tier one that I've got for my beautiful Hoya, it's like this arch shape and a little bit of an artwork piece as well. So that might go into the B tier. So between C and B, I would say, for some nice 3D trellises. But the nicer it is, the more expensive it can be. A way to help yourself with expense though is, I've got one here. This is my Hoya Lisa Australis, and there you go. I have literally created my own trellis. This is this beautiful bronze jewelry wire that I have purchased. I grabbed a drill, I twisted it as much as possible to make it stronger, and then I just put it into a shape. I literally wound it around a pot like this one here. Now, I do really like this one. It's not the strongest, and again, you can see it's not the most stable because it is 2D. It doesn't have like that third leg to help it stabilize. My plant is still very small, so this one works quite well in this moment. But when you make your own, you feel good about it. I love this one. I know it's not doing that much for my plants. I've got these little clips holding this Australis onto this pole, but I think it looks lovely. And it's easier than you think to DIY, and then you've literally just created it yourself. So while I would say many trellises, many basic trellises, even the wire ones for me, normally go in the C tier. My DIY one here would definitely go in the A tier for this moment because I just think it looks so pretty and I love it. So I love this one. So speaking of decorative ones like that one, obviously you can get the more fancy decorative metal trellises, the fancy ones you get from garden centres or online. I have two that are out on my balcony upstairs. They came with the house. They're okay, I don't mind them. They're very heavy, they're very expensive, and they can be really beautiful. Definitely more aesthetic than the basic wire ones, depending on the design and the quality you get. But I've noticed that the aesthetic ones, as I said, can get really, really expensive and rack up some dollars for sure. Depending on how big that trellis is, the metal trellises, some have hooks that you have to hook into the wall. The ones that I have upstairs have been, I think it's zip tied onto the actual fence, the wire fence itself. So again, not only do you have the trellis, you need something else to help that trellis stand up, and then you need something to tie that plant or get that plant to wrap around that trellis. So trellises for me are good in some ways. You can definitely get better ones, and the metallic ones, the beautiful trellis ones, can look lovely. So I would say that's definitely a B tier, definitely getting up towards the top. And speaking of beautiful designs, guys, I have something really exciting to tell you. I'm excited. This is actually my very first brand partnership ever on this channel. I know, little old me with my functional chaos plant setups, somehow convincing a beautiful brand to send me some products. I am honestly still pinching myself. You can just see them right here. And the partner is Treleaf or Treleaf. I'm sorry if I'm Aussie butchering it, the name. They are pretty amazing products. And I'm not just saying that. I want to be brutally honest about all of the pros and cons of these things. So if they do suck, I'll tell you that if they suck, right? And if they're amazing, you'll know exactly why too. As I said, stakes or trellises or the right support is like dating. You need to know the details and get the right support for the different types of plants. So let me show you each one because they're definitely not all the same. So this one is called the Peptrella, as you can see. Now, I have to confess, I am a little obsessed with this thing right now. I haven't taken it out of the packaging, but I do have a peperomia behind me that is escaping. It's in an escaping situation and it's driving me absolutely mental. I did not know what kind of trellis or stake to put it onto, if I'm really honest. And then I saw this one. But I am going to be real with you. It is small, obviously, as you can see next to me, and you can't use it for many plants. And I think the name is also telling you to use it for peperomias. So at this price point, most of you probably want something a little more versatile. So while I absolutely love it and it's going to be exactly what I need for that one plant, it's probably not right for everyone. So this one for me is going to go into the B tier, but for me, I absolutely love it. I am going to use it. Okay, the next one is called the Zella. You may have seen this one on other channels, but you're seeing it first here with me. It is actually a whole kit and it contains a few different products, but the actual product itself, the stake itself, or the trellis I should say, looks like this. And it smells divine. It's cedarwood. Smells like a barbecue. Is it good looking? It's not bad. It's still pretty basic compared to some of the others in terms of the design. But the thing I love about it is in the kit, it gives you several different pieces so you can build the height as your plant grows. And so you just clip them on like you do with pegs. And then there's a top as well if you want it. It's up to you if you just want to like finish it off kind of thing. That makes sense. I just love the texture and the smell. I can't get over it. I wish there was smell-o-vision these days. That'll come soon, I'm sure. There's one more thing that I did ask for because they sent these as well. They had these on the things. You may have seen a video that I did recently about some things that you come across as problems growing your plants in smaller rental places and apartments. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll leave a link here. Go watch that one because it's got some really cool ideas. But if you've got low ceilings, you can't just keep stacking them up. So what you can do is buy these little, or even your own, I guess, you can buy these little clips, and not only can you build upwards, you can build sideways. So you can keep it straight or you can bend it, and then you, obviously the bottom one, and you can put them in the plant like that. So it's a 3D trellis. And the one thing I haven't mentioned yet about this one, other than the smell, is the texture. It's a beautiful, rough texture. One is a little bit smoother than the other, but a plant, the aerial roots of a plant will grab onto this. It's nice and rough and it's wooden, exactly like what your plants would find out in nature. So the quality of these and the fact that you can put it as 3D and the fact that you can put it growing up is just beautiful. And it's a kit. So the Zella kit is just lovely. I'm going to put that in A tier because the more I stare at it, the more I really like it. And then the third one is probably my favorite. It is my favorite. Is this? This is what it looks like in the packaging. It's called the monstera. It's obviously a monstera leaf of some sort, probably something like the Adansonii. And I asked for the large one, and look at the size of it. Look, it's as big as my head. It's twice the size. Honestly, this thing, now that I'm seeing it in person, it still smells absolutely beautiful, like fresh wood in a fresh forest. You can see it's got a really nice, beautiful design. It's got lots of opportunity, not only for your plant to grab onto it with the aerial roots, but also to grow through it and around it. So not only is it good for plants like a philodendron or a monstera that face one way and grow up through aerial roots at the back, you could also use a vining plant. You can go through it. You can really be aesthetically creative, I would say, with your plant, with your vining plants on this. The only thing you can't do is stack one on top of the other like you can with the Zella one, but I don't really care. Honestly, it's like someone has finally made plant supports that belong in your living room, not hidden in a corner and not covered by a whole lot of plants. You want to look at this as much as you want to look at your plants. And they're going to last you a very, very long time. All three will, because they've added this thick coating. It feels like rubber. I thought it was wax, but it might be like a rubber coating on the bottom. Nice long stakes that sit in the soil, that hold it for stability. But this is here to put in your damp soil so it does not rot the wood. Make sure the soil, the line of the soil in the pot is below that black line. You want to see a little bit peering out so the water doesn't rot the wood. So they've really thought of everything. So for me, you're not actually only buying a trellis, you're buying a work of art with this thing. And look at this thing, it's twice the size of what I thought. I mean, if you know me, you know that I compare a lot of different leaf sizes and things to my head. I don't know why, but this doesn't change size, so it's a good comparison. Anyway, this monstera, I already know. I haven't even started using it. It's going in the S zone. I would absolutely recommend it. It's just gorgeous, and it's good for my plants, and my plants are going to love it, and it's a work of art. I can't really see anything better. And a bonus too, they have offered me, aka you, a discount code to try these things. So the code I'm going to leave on the screen here, it's Leafy Lovin, and you just have to go to their website, treleaf.shop/LeafyLovin, and you'll get 10% off the entire order. And buying these will not only help your plants grow, they'll also look amazing, but you're also helping to support this channel as well. So thank you very much, for guys. If you do give it a go, let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, but that's not the end of the video. We've done stakes, we've done trellises. Now let's talk of the final type of support system, and that is moss poles. So before we get into the bigger guys, I want to just talk about one that you might have seen on my Instagram a little while ago, and it's called the lazy moss pole. And the idea of this one is basically you cut up a water bottle, you'll see the video here, you tie it up together with stuff that you have around. I used Velcro, plant Velcro, you stuff it with your moss or whatever medium that you want, and then you stake it up with sticks or support. Honestly, if you haven't tried this one, do not bother. It's total garbage, going in the garbage D zone. Sorry, do not try a lazy moss pole. Next one, now we're getting to the good stuff. Homemade wire poles. Now these are probably the ones I use almost all the time. I use these probably 70% of the time. Now when I originally made my very first one, I bought plastic flexible wire as the outer casing. Nope, don't do that. Get the hard chicken wire. It's called chicken wire. Look for chicken wire in your hardware store or online, whatever it is, because that gives it a lot more structure and support. And then fill it with whichever medium you choose. And then if you want, you can tie it up with zip ties if that helps. So fill it with whichever medium you prefer. This is just sphagnum floss. You can use moss and perlite. You can use tree fern fiber. I know a lot of people love. And if you want to make it neat, you can also just chop off the edges or any excess that's like sticking out, and it's done. So for me, these are definitely one of my faves. I use these a lot. I use these from pothos to philodendrons and anything in between that can climb. Well, almost anything. Now, I really like these as overall the cost is actually quite reasonable considering all the different parts. And they are stable and they actually attract your plant to hold onto them with that inner moss. So it actually benefits your climbing plant, right? When the aerial roots hit that moss, it's something that they can dig into, they can wind themselves in, and they love the texture and they love it being damp. The cons of this thing, they require consistency in the maintenance because they are best if they are kept consistently damp. To be fair, I don't actually keep mine consistently damp all the time, but every week I am redampening. Redampening? Is that a word? I redampen them every week. So I will mist a little bit of it first, just so the water when I put it on, it doesn't run off. And then I add a water bottle on top with holes in the lid so I can keep it consistently damp and it just drips into the moss. So again, a bonus for moss poles is you can stack and grow on top of one another as your plant grows. So that's why I use moss poles a lot. So for me, a moss pole, as I said in my previous video, it's like plant Lego. So this one is definitely A tier for me. I use it for nearly all of my plants, but it's definitely one I absolutely love. But the final one, and I've got two versions here, the final one is the D-shaped moss pole. So if you've seen my video from last week about growing your monsteras, I have given this one away a little bit, but this is probably one of my favorites for my bigger philodendrons and for my monsteras. You buy them on Amazon, they're quite easy, they're quite cheap. The main reason why I love them for my monsteras and the bigger plants is because it holds all of the aerial roots in. So the plant will grow through, the aerial roots will grow through into the moss, and then it'll all stay nice and neat and easy behind. I've got several examples I'll show you in the B-roll. The D-shaped moss pole has all the benefits of a normal chicken wire moss pole, the ones that I do at home. They're easy to buy on Amazon and your climbing plants are going to love them. And for you, they're going to look more attractive because it keeps everything held in one place. And again, you can play moss pole Lego with them as well too. You can stack one on top of the other and you can tie them together so they grow with your plants. This trellis and the moss poles and the chicken wire moss poles and the D-shaped moss poles are the most exciting because they grow with your plants. Then sticking with the D-shaped moss pole, I do want to show you the other one that I mentioned. It has two pieces to it. It's got a plastic backing, it's got a wire front, but there's one benefit of this type. Pretend this is half the size. When your plant is smaller, you can take the plant off and the aerial roots with the wire and put it onto a bigger piece of plastic. Does that make sense? You can move the whole plant with the wire and everything off of this plastic and put it onto another one if need be. So there is a slight benefit to this two pieces one from a longer term perspective, because not only can you do the plant Lego thing and build on top of it, you can also move it from one backing to another in case you need to make it wider or thinner, or maybe you want to put two plants into one moss pole. I hope that makes sense, but I really do think that this one here, it is for me a top tier, S tier, super amazing, super beautiful moss pole. Everyone's situation is different. I completely get that. But for me, this is top of the range. And honestly, your plants love climbing on these things. They attract the plant. They attract the aerial roots in through that wire onto the sphagnum moss or the tree fern fiber. And your plant leaves will do what they need to do like they do in the wild. And your plant leaves will grow bigger and bigger. So here's what I've learned from plant dating. Skip the garbage tier completely. If you need basic tier when budget matters, absolutely go for it. But if you want your plants and your space to look incredible, invest with a little bit more money and time into supports that are actually designed to help your plant attach to that support. So stakes are temporary. Trellises can be okay depending on the quality of them, and moss poles are amazing, especially for really strong big aerial roots. So I hope that makes sense. Add any questions that you want in the comments below. Ask me anything you want. I know I've probably missed quite a few as well. There are so many different options out there. Do what you need to do what's right for you, do what's right for the bank as well. I totally get that. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget about the discount code for Leafy Lovin when you go to their store, treleaf.com. You get 10% off your entire order, and it supports this channel as well. So please do give these guys a go. Honestly, I can't wait to give this one onto one of my monsteras. I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. So thank you very much for joining me today. As always, have a week full of leaves, love and laughter, and big aerial roots and big plants. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in this next video right here. See you later. Bye. I'm renting a whole lot of different types of support systems, stakes, poles, trellises, trellises? Blooper.